The screen fills with blinding white light that slowly resolves into the shimmering heat haze of the East African Rift Valley. It is 2.7 million years ago. The world is vaster, hotter, and more hostile than we can imagine. We are instantly amidst the tribe. 15 hominids move at a steady, grueling pace through tall, golden grasses that conceal danger. They are not walking, they are trudging. Their bodies are covered in dust, faces set in grim determination. The camera focuses on a female in the center of the group. We will call her the mother. Her belly is hugely distended. Every step is a visible agony, her breath coming in sharp, rhythmic huffs. She is not just carrying weight, she is carrying the future, and it is heavy. There is no slow introduction. They are exposed. They are migrating between water sources, the most dangerous activity for our ancestors. The large males walk on the periphery, eyes constantly scanning the horizon, gripping jagged flakes of black basalt, the cutting edge of technology at the time. The mother stumbles. A guttural gasp escapes her lips. She grips the shoulder of a younger female ahead of her to keep from falling. The tribe stops instantly. The silence of the savanna is immense, broken only by the buzzing of flies and their own ragged breathing. An older female, the matriarch, her face deeply lined, missing several teeth, moves to the mother. She places a calloused hand on the swollen abdomen. She feels the tightening. A sharp look passes between them. It is time. And it could not have happened in a worse place. They are kilometers from the safety of the rock overhangs they are heading toward. They are in the open kill zone of the high plains. For 30 Part 2, The Vulnerable Circle, communication is instantaneous and wordless. A low bark from the matriarch, a sharp gesture. The tribe understands the crisis. They cannot keep moving, but stopping is death. They compromise. They find a solitary, gnarled acacia tree offering meager shade. The matriarch guides the heavy-breathing mother beneath it. The ground is hard-packed earth and sharp stones. The tribe snaps into a primal defensive formation. The males and females without infants form an outward-facing circle around the tree, about 20 feet out. They stand sentinel, their knuckles brushing the tops of the grass. They are tense, muscles coiled like springs. They know that a birthing mother is a beacon to every carnivore on the plains. Under the tree, the ancient drama begins. This is not a modern hospital birth, this is raw biology. The mother squats, using gravity, gripping a low-hanging branch until her knuckles turn white. The pain of early bipedal childbirth is immense, the evolutionary compromise between walking upright with narrow hips and birthing babies with growing brains. The matriarch snaps off a thick, bitter root from a nearby shrub. She chews it into a paste and forces it into the mother's mouth, a mild, ancestral painkiller. The mother's eyes roll back. She bites down on her own arm to suppress a scream. Noise is dangerous here. The sun passes its zenith. The heat is oppressive. The labor is agonizingly slow. The mother is slick with sweat, trembling with exhaustion. Suddenly, the largest male on the perimeter freezes. He stands fully upright, flaring his nostrils. The wind has shifted. He lets out a sharp, warning whoop. The camera whips to the horizon. Nothing at first. Then, movement in the tall grass. Not one shape, but 5. Hyenas. Not the modern variety, but Pashikrakute, the giant short-faced hyena, larger and heavier, with bone-crushing jaws built for scavenging megafauna. They have caught the scent of amniotic fluid and blood carried on the shifting breeze. They do not attack immediately. They are intelligent hunters. They begin to lope in a wide, lazy circle around the hominid perimeter, testing their resolve. Their eerie, low-frequency chattering carries over the grass. The tension under the acacia tree skyrockets. The mother knows what is happening out there. Her terror spikes her adrenaline, which counterintuitively slows the birth process. The matriarch presses her forehead against the mother's, making deep eye contact, a silent command to focus only on her, to breathe. The circle of guards tightens. They are outmatched in size and power, but they have two advantages: numbers and rocks. The alpha male hurls a fist-sized cobblestone with shocking accuracy. It strikes the lead hyena in the ribs with a dull thud. The beast yelps and retreats a few paces, snarling, revealing teeth capable of snapping a femur. They have bought time, but not much. The hyenas sit on their haunches just out of rock range, waiting. They know something vulnerable is at the center of that circle. The sun begins to dip lower, painting the sky in bruised purples and oranges. The standoff has lasted hours. The tribe is dehydrated, their nerves frayed to the breaking point. Under the tree, the moment arrives. The mother's body convulses in one final, massive push. The matriarch is positioned below her, hands ready. In silence, the infant slips into the world. It is tiny, covered in vernix and blood. The matriarch catches it deftly before it hits the dusty earth. For a terrifying second, the infant is still. The matriarch quickly clears its nose and mouth with a finger. The baby draws its first breath of dusty air and lets out a thin, high-pitched wail. The sound is electric. It cuts through the savanna silence like a signal flare. Instantly, the hyenas are on their feet. The stalemate is over. The scent of fresh blood is too strong, the cry too tempting. They break their holding pattern and charge the perimeter. The hominids explode into action. They scream guttural roars, waving their arms to appear larger. A volley of stones flies at the attackers. One hyena tries to break through a gap between two younger males. They meet it with a flurry of strikes, using thick branches as clubs. The hyena snaps, tearing flesh from a male's forearm, but the combined defense forces it back. Under the tree, the matriarch frantically uses a flake of obsidian to sever the umbilical cord. There is no time for gentle cleaning. She wraps the infant in a rough antelope hide carried by the mother. The defense line is buckling. The hyenas are bolder now, tasting blood from the injured male. It seems inevitable that the circle will break. But the Pliocene sky has one more card to play. The oppressive heat all day was building atmospheric instability. Above them, unseen until now, massive cumulonimbus clouds have gathered, heavy and dark. There is no rain. This is a dry storm. A deafening crack splits the air. A bolt of dry lightning strikes a dead acacia tree just 200 yards upwind. The effect is instantaneous. The parched, tinder-dry grassland ignites with explosive force. The wind, already gusting, whips the spark into a wall of orange flame 20 feet high within seconds. The roaring of the fire drowns out the growls of the hyenas. The predators, faced with an elemental force far greater than hunger, panic. They scatter, yelping, running away from the hominids and the encroaching inferno. The tribe is saved from the teeth, only to face the fire. The matriarch looks at the alpha male. They share a look of primal terror. The fire is moving faster than a human can run, and it is headed straight for them. The newborn is minutes old. The mother can barely stand. Panic threatens to shatter the group, but thousands of years of ancestral discipline hold them together. The alpha male barks sharp commands, pointing away from the fire, toward the distant tree line that marks the river hidden in a gorge, their original destination. They have to run. Now, the matriarch takes the bundled infant. She is old, but her endurance is forged by a lifetime of walking. She clutches the bundle to her chest and begins to jog. Two strong males hoist the exhausted mother to her feet, supporting her weight between them. She cries out in pain, her body shattered by birth, but necessity forces her legs to move. The tribe breaks into a desperate run across the uneven savanna. Behind them, the roar is deafening, a tidal wave of heat that scorches their backs. Smoke rolls over them, thick and acrid, choking their lungs. They cough violently, eyes streaming, stumbling over hidden termite mounds and rocks in the darkening haze. It is a nightmare scenario. The injured male falls behind, limping badly. Another female slows down to help him, urging him forward. The cohesion of the group is their only chance. They run until their lungs burn and their legs feel like lead. The mother is practically being dragged now, her feet barely touching the ground. The matriarch, ahead, never looks back, focusing only on protecting the small warmth against her chest. They reach the edge of the gorge just as the heat becomes unbearable. Below them lies the river, but it is not the lazy stream they expected. Upstream rains, the same ones that caused the dry lightning here, have swollen the river. It is wide, turbulent, the water murky and churning with reddish-brown silt. They skid to a halt on the muddy bank. Behind them, the fire reaches the edge of the gorge, illuminating the scene in a hellish orange glow. Embers rain down around them like meteors. They are trapped between fire and flood. The alpha male looks at the water. He knows what lives in these rivers. Crocodiles, ancient, patient ambush hunters hidden in the opaque water. But the fire is feet away. The heat is blistering their skin. There is no choice. The alpha male enters the water first, probing the depth with a long stick. The current immediately tries to sweep him off his feet. He plants himself, roaring back at the group to follow. They enter the water in a tight cluster. They link arms, forming a living human chain against the current. The water is shockingly cold, stealing their breath. The matriarch is in the center, holding the baby high above her head, keeping it dry at all costs. The mother is supported by the two males, the water rushing around her waist, threatening to drag her weak body under. They are halfway across when the water deepens suddenly to chest height. The current becomes violent. The injured male at the end of the chain loses his footing. He goes under. The chain strains, threatening to break. The female next to him holds on with desperate strength, pulling his head above water, both of them sputtering. Suddenly, a disturbance in the water upstream, a weight moving against the current. A shape, darker than the muddy water, glides toward them, a crocodile, attracted by the vibration of their struggle. The alpha male at the front sees it. He cannot fight it in the water. He screams, urging the group faster. He splashes violently with his stick, trying to confuse the predator. They scramble toward the far bank in panic. The mother is shoved up the muddy slope by the males. The matriarch slips on a slick rock, dropping to one knee, the infant inches from the churning water, before a strong hand grabs her arm and hauls her up. They collapse onto the mud of the far bank, gasping, shivering. Behind them, on the other side of the river, the fire reaches the edge and stops, frustrated by the water barrier. The crocodile sinks back into the murky depths, denied its meal. They crawl away from the riverbank, up into the safety of the rock overhangs they had been trying to reach all day. They find a shallow cave, dry and protected from the wind. They collapse in a heap of exhausted bodies, covered in mud, ash, and sweat. The adrenaline crashes, leaving them shaking uncontrollably. The fire burns itself out on the far horizon, leaving a blackened landscape under the rising moon. Inside the cave, it is dark and quiet. The matriarch moves to where the mother is lying against the rock wall, eyes half closed. Gently, reverently, the matriarch unwraps the antelope hide. The baby is impossibly small, its skin wrinkled, its eyes squeezed shut. It is a miracle of survival born amidst hyenas, carried through fire, and baptized in a flood. The matriarch hands the infant to the mother. The mother, despite her exhaustion, instinctively shifts. She guides the infant to her breast. After a few fumbling moments, the baby latches on. A collective sigh seems to go through the tribe. The others gather around in the dim moonlight. Giant, calloused hands reach out to gently touch the infant's head, its tiny fingers. There are low coos and grunts of reassurance. The injured male is having his arm tended to by another female licking the wound clean. The alpha male sits at the mouth of the cave, watching the darkness, spear hand resting on his knee. The camera lingers on the face of the mother, illuminated by a sliver of moonlight. Her eyes are open now, looking down at the new life she sustained against all odds. Her expression is one of profound, ancient weariness, but also fierce resolve. They have survived the day. Tomorrow, the struggle begins again. But tonight, there is life, fade to black.